Good morning. It's great to be with you all, and I'm excited to introduce the group of people that are here to talk to you about the potential of you joining us at UPSim as a student. My name's Erin Burt, and I'm the Director of Admissions on the Richmond Campus. I graduated with my MDiv from UPSim in 2020.
My name is Brian Blunt, and I'm the president of UPSim, and I have been here since 2007 and have been enjoying this wonderful community of people since then.
My name is Lisa McLennan, and I am the Director of Admissions on the Charlotte campus, and I am a 2014 graduate of UPSim.
Hi, everyone. My name is Safwat Marzouk, and I teach Old Testament at UPSim. And this is my first year, and it has been a great year so far.
And my name is Tim Moore, and I do a variety of things at the seminary. Specifically today, I'm here to speak about our United Methodist students and United Methodist Student Program and other students who are not Presbyterian at the school.
So, Dr. Blunt, will you start us off by talking a little bit more about why a student might consider theological education at UPSim?
I would be happy to, Erin. Thank you. It begins with God. However the call comes, it makes a claim upon you. Some people respond right away. Some people resist. And then years later, one or two careers already behind them, they feel the power of God's claim upon their lives. Never went away. Surrendering with joy and hope. They also respond. I was 12 years old when my call came. I knew from that moment on, one way or another, witnessing to the Lordship of Jesus Christ in my life and in the life of others, whether in a church or a classroom, would be my vocation. I also knew that I wanted to be as well prepared to follow God's lead and do God's work as possible. So the church became my life. Its worship, its service, its mission, its liturgy, its justice-oriented engagement in the community in which I grew up, its sense of community as the body of Christ, representing the intention of Christ in the world. God's calling raised in me a passion for proclaiming and living the meaning and purpose of the risen Christ, for participating in the transformational work of the church as the church emulated Jesus's past ministry and its present mission. I knew early on, though, that passion, though necessary, was insufficient. I learned early on that I must feed my mind as surely and as completely as I fed my soul. I wanted to know the scriptures, and indeed, that has become my life's work, reading the scriptures, interpreting them, wrestling with them, being challenged by them, challenging the church and the world through the scriptures. I wanted to know the history of the church and how its past could inform our present and future. I wanted to wrestle with theological concepts and the teachers of the faith who changed the course of human history with their books and sermons. I wanted to know how to be a Christian educator who could teach the faith that had been taught to me in creative and life-giving ways. I knew, in other words, that God's call into the ministry, if I was going to be a minister, the kind of minister I hoped and prayed I could be, I was being drawn into seminary. The encounters I had in seminary with professors and with other seminary students and with church leaders and parishioners with whom I worked in internships, all of that deepened my sense of call by enriching my understanding of the faith and the people of the faith. What I learned in seminary changed my life, taught me how to read the scriptures in new ways. I read the biblical texts in the languages in which they were written. I debated theological concepts with teachers and friends. I learned new ways to craft sermons, and I preached with a fervor and a knowledge I never knew I was capable of. I learned how to use a theological library to help me think and write and speak with precision and power. I grew in ways intellectual and spiritual that I could not have predicted. The more I learned, the deeper my sense of calling grew, the sharper my insight into my faith became. Seminary made that kind of a difference in my life. I believe that theological education makes that kind of difference in every person of faith who is sensing God's call, trying to discern if they will follow God's call into the ministry of God's people in church. And that is why I have dedicated 30 years of my life to being a theological educator. I want to pass on the power that was passed on to me in seminary. And not just any seminary, but Union Presbyterian Seminary. Since 1812, this school has dedicated itself to the nurture and equipping of students who seek to deepen their knowledge of their faith as they prepare to share the passion and the power of their faith with God's people in God's world. UPSim has a legacy of strong and vibrant teaching, of vigorous and challenging biblical and theological research, of creating opportunities to use what you have learned in the classroom in the lives of people, churches, and communities in partnership with professors working closely with you. Here at UPSim, faculty build strong relationships with students, get to know their students really well, learn how to help their students grow in faith as they deepen in their studies. With our wonderful faculty and our outstanding library, students find all the resources they need to have a rich educational experience. So whether a student is residential on the Richmond campus, going to school on the weekends on the Charlotte campus, or taking classes through a hybrid online format, that student will receive a stellar education at UPSim. So well prepared are our students, in fact, that I am constantly told by church leaders who work with our graduates that they are deeply impressed by the gifts and strengths our graduates bring to their ministries because of the education they receive. That reputation makes a difference. Our graduates do exceedingly well in finding ministry and educational placements after their graduation because their education here is so highly respected. So as you discern how God is working in you, I hope you consider the difference the theological education can make in your life. Even more, I hope you will consider how much of a difference Union Presbyterian Seminary can make in your life. The theological education we do here will prepare you to make a difference in God's church and in God's world.
Thank you, Dr. Blunt. For our listeners, I hope that sparked some curiosity for you, because that is the same sense of passion and curiosity for learning that you would find in our classrooms. Sorry, got a call coming through. But thank you all so much for listening to Dr. Blunt's word. Lisa, will you share a little bit more about the degree programs that students could find themselves in?
Absolutely. Thank you, Erin. And hey, I hope that call was a prospective student who already heard what Brian had to say and is ready to be in touch with us. That education that Brian just described, I have 5 things I want you to know about it in terms of who we are at Union Presbyterian Seminary. That degree is our theological education is now more accessible than it has ever been. There are many ways in which you can engage with us, and I'd like to just briefly share that with you. We have 2 different campuses. The first campus is in Richmond, Virginia, and our second campus is in Charlotte, North Carolina. And on either of those 2 campuses, you can be both a full-time or a part-time student. And we offer crazy generous financial aid for both full-time and part-time students. And Erin's going to talk more about that later. Our Richmond campus is primarily residential, in-person and full-time. Our Charlotte campus is primarily part-time and hybrid, which is a combo of in-person and virtual. And those are commuter students who are usually working full-time. But I use the term primarily and not exclusively, because we see both on each campus, and we want you to help find what will best suit your needs for theological education. We have 3 basic master's degrees at Union Presbyterian Seminary, and you can find great details about these on our website. We have a Master of Divinity degree, we have a Master of Arts in Christian Education, and we have a Master of Arts in Public Theology. Those are our 3 basic master degrees, and any of those 3 can be combined to create a dual degree program. We also have 3 ways in which we offer classes and degrees on our campuses. You can be fully in person on our Richmond campus. We offer hybrid classes and degrees in both Richmond and Charlotte. And we offer fully online classes on each campus. The MACE degree, though, is the only degree program that can be accessed fully online. This can get very confusing, and not everything is available on every campus, but Aaron and I are here to help you discern what will be the right fit for you and what you can best access what you need. Fourth, it takes 4 classes to make up a certificate program. We have 2 new certificate programs on our seminary campuses. One is in public theology and one is in Christian education. These are brand new, and a certificate program is a great way to test out if a potential degree program will be right for you, but it's also a great way to enhance the degree you might already have or your skills in the context where you serve. So we hope you'll check those out. There are a few other ways you can access our theological education. We have 2 advanced degrees, Master's in Theology and a Doctor of Ministry degree. We also have the Leadership Institute, and that is a place where you can access continuing education events or a program we call Pathways. Pathways is our online lay school for curious learners who aren't interested in a degree program, or for commissioning pastors for service in congregations. In addition to the Leadership Institute and advanced degrees, we also have 3 amazing centers. We have the Center for Social Justice and Reconciliation. We have the Katie Geneva Cannon Center for Womanist Leadership and the Sigmund Rhee Global Mission Center. Our 3 centers regularly have educational events, and they are a great way to begin to engage in our community, to learn more about who we are and what we do. And you can check those centers out on our website as well. We think that there is something for everyone at Union Presbyterian Seminary, and Aaron and I would love to help you discern how you can access the wonderful education opportunities we have to offer.
Thanks for that, Lisa. Dr. Marzouk, will you share with us a little bit about what it's like to be a faculty member, perhaps some of the things that energize you about being in the classroom or things that you're looking forward to?
I would be happy to. I teach Old Testament at UPSim, and some of the classes that I teach are focused on migration in the Bible and the church. So helping students and the church to think about what God is calling us to do and to witness to among communities that are seeking better life, and also envisioning the life of the church given the changes in the demographics in the world around us. I teach classes on monsters and empires in the Bible and popular culture, the religious other in the Bible and in the church, and also a class on worship and liberation in the book of Exodus. And you can see from this list of classes that I teach that I'm interested in an important question about the relationship between the self and the other, how the people who claim a particular faith identity relate to those who are different from them. And the hope is that this question would draw us closer and deeper into loving God and loving our neighbor. So these are the things that excite me about the coursework that I offer here at UPSim. But what also excites me and energizes me is the body of students that I get to teach and also get to learn from at UPSim. And to be more specific, some of the things that energize me in the classroom and also in interactions with the students outside of the classroom is their boldness. It takes a lot of courage to respond to God's call, especially in the times that we live in. It takes boldness to say yes to God in taking the call and vocation in a time like this. We're facing pandemics of COVID-19, racism, populism, divisions in the church and the society. And when the students who come to UPSim say yes to God in boldness, they are committing themselves to proclaiming the good news in the midst of these uncertain times. That takes courage. And that boldness of our students here that is evident in the work they do in the classroom and the conversations we have outside of the classroom This inspires me. What also excites me about the students and energizes me in the classroom is how the students here at UPSM are able to balance out engaging critically and faithfully, both with the Bible and the traditions. They are able to look at the past that is communicated in the biblical traditions, the witness that is communicated in the biblical traditions, look at it and be able to discern how they are encountering God in the Bible, how they are encountering God in the traditions, where the church has failed and where the church can go in the future. And it's this ability to balance out embracing the tradition and the Bible, but also a faithful, critical posture towards the Bible and the traditions that actually open up a new vision for how we should move forward as a church that is called to witness to God's love in the world. Another thing that energizes me about the students at UPSM is their commitment to integrate both faith and academia, doing rigorous academic work, but also worshiping together in the chapel, approaching the biblical text with longing and yearning to encounter God and the liberating vision that is witnessed to in the Bible, doing all of this kind of research work and writing papers and readings and critical engagement with the readings that they are doing. But at the same time, it's not just about encountering information. It's about seeking transformation. It's about longing for the Spirit of God to use all of these gifts, all of this knowledge, so that they would be transformed, so that they would become closer to God and would love God in a deeper way and continue to discern what the church is in need of as we envision how to witness to God's love and to the good news in the world that we live in. These things, among many other things, energize me as I teach the beloved students body here at UPSM. And I hope that you would consider joining us to bring who you are and your faith journey, your cultural background, the way you have been engaging the Bible, the way you have been thinking about who God is for you, the way you have been called, because what you bring makes this community a richer community as we seek to respond to God's call.
Thank you for that. I am struck by the fact that you and Dr. Blunt have both shared one of my favorite things that I get to talk to students about is how creative and how creative our faculty are in their approach to academics, but also how deeply pastoral our faculty and staff are, that you would care so much for the gifts that our students bring to this campus and see it also as an opportunity to learn from them. So thank you very much for that. So speaking of the gifts that you might bring to our campus, Lisa has already talked about the fact that we would love to be in conversation with you if you are interested in learning more about our programs or if you're ready to apply. We also want to talk to you about another way that we hope to care for your gifts, and that's by supporting you financially as you would go through this process. So we have a new program coming out called the UPSM Promise, and what this seeks to do is to financially undergird each student that comes through our program. With this promise, full-time students would get 100% tuition coverage. Part-time students would get, or half-time students would get 2/3 tuition coverage. And all of our students would be eligible for merit-based scholarships that look not just at your academic talents, but also about the gifts that you've given to community, the work that you've done on yourself as you prepare for this process, and all sorts of other different things that you might bring as a faith leader. So one of the ways that you would ensure that you are eligible for our scholarships is by applying by our scholarship deadline. There's no other application that you need to fill out, no additional documents. It is truly by putting in your application by these deadlines. Our deadlines differ by campus, so please keep that in mind. Our Richmond campus scholarship deadline is February 15th, and our Charlotte scholarship deadline is May 30th. Keep in mind that these deadlines are for our fall 22 academic application, or our fall 22 application cycle. And these dates may be subject to change in future years, but you can always check back on our website for the most current dates. Or again, be in touch with Lisa and I. So if I'm a prospective student looking at Union Presbyterian Seminary, I might be curious about how I would fit in if I weren't Presbyterian. And so I'm going to ask Tim Moore to talk a little bit more about what it's like to be a student at our seminary while someone who's not a Presbyterian.
Thank you. Thank you, Erin, and thank you, everybody else. That is a good question. And I was thinking the same thing, that we do have right there embedded in the very name of the school, Union Presbyterian Seminary. About half of the students who attend the seminary are Presbyterian, but about half then are not. They come from a variety of backgrounds. You can imagine about every faith tradition you could think of is represented on the campus, across both campuses, and in lots of different ways. And so that means that we have found a way here at the seminary to integrate and to engage students from these various backgrounds to feel, I think, at home and to feel welcome. There are some specific programs that we have on the campuses that help to nurture and to engage students as they're exploring their own calls to ministry and their own academic studies. Some of those would be, just as an example, there is a Baptist House of Studies. So if you are a student who is from the Baptist traditions, there's some opportunities specifically to engage with each other and to think what it might be to serve within that tradition. So we have a good representative kind of part of our student body that are from Baptist traditions. We also then have a very large percentage of our student body who are from the United Methodist tradition. And so I'm going to speak a little more specifically about folks who come from the United Methodist tradition. And hopefully the examples I can give from the experience of United Methodist students might speak more broadly to the, I think, the large, welcoming, but also supportive environment that is created for our students on this campus. Sorry, on both campuses. I would also like to say, just kind of really quickly, to think about something that Erin had just mentioned, and that was the fact when she was speaking in regards to financial aid and support, that students from our campuses receive support regardless of denominational background. That is not something that is specific to any one particular tradition. All traditions are equally eligible to receive support, and that's financial backing is, I think, an incredibly distinctive hallmark of an educational experience here at Union. But specifically for those students, let's say, who are United Methodists who happen to come, I'm an ordained United Methodist minister and have been so for 2 decades. I have worked specifically with United Methodist students at a variety of levels, be it at an undergraduate level and a graduate level, and also denominationally. I used to serve with the United Methodist Church for the General Board of Higher Education and Ministry, which is the denominational body that oversees all educational opportunities and educational institutions affiliated with the United Methodist Church. And so we had global engagement and global support. And so one of the ways that I know that offers a distinct advantage to attending a Union Presbyterian Seminary as someone who is United Methodist is that we are an approved seminary of the University Senate of the United Methodist Church. That's a critical advantage that the seminary here offers. Not all seminaries are approved seminaries of the University Senate. And in order to be an approved seminary, you have to offer support and care and courses to allow students who are exploring calls to ministry, particularly ordained ministry within the United Methodist Church. They have to offer those courses and provide occasions for students to take those classes. And our students have that opportunity because of our being an approved institution. It means that we do offer those courses. So that means that if you're a student who's exploring a call to ministry and you're United Methodist, we offer all the courses in partnership with a variety of schools to make sure that you get all the courses necessary to be eligible for either ordination as an elder in the United Methodist Church or a deacon in the United Methodist Church. And there are 2 different ordination tracks that exist specifically within United Methodism. But I think it speaks to the fact that, one, the school is interested in a variety of people coming here and being welcome here, but also the school is interested in engaging the necessary steps to make it possible for students to not only feel welcome, but to be successful, to not only explore what it means for them to engage in their own personal exploration of faith, but also explore specifically what it means for them to pursue their ordination, if they so choose, in the denomination of their choice. On our campuses, we have persons who are specifically assigned to work with our United Methodist students. Our United Methodist students gather quite regularly before COVID, obviously in person, but after and during COVID, we do so virtually. We gather together to share with each other insights. We gather together to share with each other questions and comments. We speak about the ordination process. We invite outside guests to come and to join us to give insight into the ordination process and their individual annual conferences. Because we have students who are representative not just of United Methodism, but the specific parts of United Methodism. Those individual annual conferences and the unique steps necessary in each annual conference in order for you to pursue ordination. And so what we do on our campuses, as we have these persons like myself who work with United Methodist students, is we help them step by step to make sure that they pursue the ordination process and they feel successful, not only in completing academic studies, but also in pursuing that vocational outcome that they're hoping to achieve. So I think there's obviously a wonderful opportunities to come and to engage, whether you are a United Methodist or Presbyterian or Baptist or whatever your particular background might be. But do know that you are welcome here in this place and that you will find a community of people who are sort of their own individual experts, in the sense that what I mean that is that students, they learn as they go through this process, and we have persons on the staff who are here to help give guidance. But those students who have been here, they're happy to share their experience, their insight, their knowledge, their understanding of how the system works. And that is part of why we get together on a regular basis, just so that we can listen to each other, share the expertise that we have all gained in engaging the system and processing ourselves through the ordination and the academic engagement as we seek not only to graduate, but also maybe to be ordained. And we become a community that learns together, that strives together, that grows together, that embraces what it means to be united together. So we are a place that is union, but we're also a place that unites. So please consider joining us and sharing with us. Consider becoming one of us, whether it is on the Richmond campus or on the Charlotte campus, or in one of those virtual engagements we have through hybrid programming. You will be welcome here. And I think here you will find a place, not only to be welcome, but also to be successful.
Thank you, Tim. We are so grateful that you are taking the time to be with us today, that you would be considering these next steps. And it's truly our hope to get to know you as you discern. We ask that you would be in touch with our admissions office. You can reach out to us at admissions@upsem.edu. We would love to be in touch at first via email or via phone. But we're often in touch with students having more lengthy applicants, having more lengthy conversations, and able to talk to you whether you are really clear that you're ready to get an application started, or if you are just beginning to consider this opportunity. I hope that you'll reach out, and we hope to see you at UPSem one day. Take care.